Guys, let's get real.
Let's get real for a second.
Are you ready to have your mind blown open and taken over by rainbows that the earth squirted inconceivably into some fat stones?
Are you sick and tired of seeing the same double rainbow? Do you know in your heart that you need infinite rainbows? Me too.
We're seeing them right now, and we have the answer for you to manifest the reality that you truly desire.
Yeah. Wear these opals while you're manifesting and manifesturbating your dreams.
They will take over your dreams, let me assure you. Yeah, we're here today to tell you about our fairy opal grandparents.
Yeah.
Cosmic opals.
Cosmic opals. We love them. They love us.
Sponsors of the pod.
Sponsors of the pod.
And all they want for you is to experience rainbows.
Yeah.
And find incredibly unique jewelry.
Yeah. And like they mine them themselves, and we went mining with them, and it changed our lives forever. When you're like sifting through the dust and the dirt and the rubble all day, and then you find a shiny rainbow, these are more rare than diamonds, y'all.
Yeah, we became the opals. The opals became us. We were dreaming an opal. We're obsessed.
You realize everything is opal, and I feel like you need that.
I feel like you need 10% off.
I feel like you need 10% off
on the whole site. So go to cosmicopals.com, type in that code. Boy, you know it's online forever.
And remember, everything is opal. So
opal and out.
Get some opal today.
Are you sure you want to post that? It's gonna be online forever.
Well, let's start. Today we have the gorgeous and supple Lena Paul. Hello, Angel.
I'm sorry. Hi,
It just
I missed
came.
you.
I missed you too.
You look like a fairy.
You look like a babe.
Yeah, you look like Goth Elle Woods, and you look kind of like Elle Woods.
Honestly, it is giving Elle Woods.
I should have a tiny chihuahua with me right now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being
need a person.
overpowered by blonde.
Whoa.
There's a lot of blonde energy in this room.
Yeah, and we have two other guests here.
They got bigger since you saw them last.
Dude, I got these sized, and the lady there, I think they had hired a new person, and she was a little off her rocker maybe.
Are you sure
and
she wasn't just high?
I was. But she didn't even measure them. She just gave me a bra, and she was like, "You're a 34G." And I was like, huh?
Okay, but like,
I don't think so.
actually, I would look at your tits, and if I was like, guess, I'd be like 34F, 34G.
No way.
No, dead ass. This is a 32F. When we
Your
get
tits
off,
are bigger than mine.
When we get off the pod, I'm gonna take this off, and you're gonna put it on, and it's gonna fit.
I am very tall.
Yeah.
So they could, I don't know. I think they're double Ds, but I guess that's not even that different
You're not
from
a double
G.
D.
I feel like bra size is a social construct.
I don't think it's real.
It's a measurement of volume, but we're getting to the point with physics now where like it's all fake.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Lots of discoveries coming out.
I am the new telescope stresses me out. Like every time I
Who
hear
is she?
we just keep finding, like, I just saw that we found galaxies that were like older than the Big Bang, and I'm like,
Huh?
I know.
I mean, that news just gets
Brain
swept
melt.
under the rug.
Why aren't we talking about this?
Where is this
talking
on
about it.
TikTok? We are, yeah. And we're putting it out there as well.
Did you guys see that meme that said, "What should Congress pass in 2023?" And it was like,
The blunt.
Legalization. Decrim now. God damn it.
We were just talking about bisexuality and ADHD. And do you think that someone can have ADHD without being bisexual? Do you think someone can be
If you
bisexual
have
without
ADHD,
having
you're either
ADHD?
also autistic or also bisexual.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to go on record.
Shit. Oh man. I mean, now I'm thinking about things because I mean, obviously I'm bisexual, but like now
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the straight ADHD guys that I know, and I'm like, are you?
Oh my god.
Is it a touch of the tism?
Wait, you're right. There are straight ADHD boys, and I fall hard for them. It's so bad. That is my type.
They either have to be bisexual or ADHD in order for me to be into it.
Yeah,
That's
for
really
sure.
it. I've discovered that I can't really like get with a man unless he's also neurospicy.
Yeah.
Period.
Like, I don't know.
Spicy or fruity or both.
or both. It's really true.
Got the spicy mango up in this bitch. So where the hell have you been?
Oh my God. I don't know. I'm just.
You were in Miami, right? That was the last place
I was
you were
in
just...
Miami. I was pitching for the first time in like 7 years. I was pitching at a conference of like investment bankers for my farm venture and like all of that, because we're working on turning it into a wellness spa that's like based in plant medicine and like all of the things that you and I love so much.
Yes.
So I was down there at a psychedelic conference for
Wow.
psychedelic investment conference. It was really fascinating.
Oh, we got some big brains in there.
It was so unhinged. Like, I was the sanest person in the room.
Wow.
Like, by contrast. Like, I would be sitting there and I'd be talking to people and I'd be like, so what do you do? And he'd be like, well, you know, I run a collective of people that are heart-centered. Bankers, CEOs, Wall Street guys, entertainers.
It was a conference of just the ayahuasca CEOs.
It's the guys who take ayahuasca and they're like, my life's purpose is to start a sales as service startup.
Wow.
Like,
They find the higher truth.
This is becoming my energy, honestly.
it's so fascinating. Oh my God, though. But then like there was like a dinner that was kind of like related to like people in this space. And I was just like, we were waiting on somebody to show up and they were talking about this guy. He was some millionaire. He was like coming in. He was like one of the guys that like everybody was trying to fillet basically to get money, which, you know, like no wonder I feel really comfortable in these spaces. But he was coming in and they were talking about him and they were like, yeah, he's going through a lot right now actually because he actually paid a guy to eat his finger. He's a cannibal consensually. They signed a contract and he had his finger amputated and this guy ate it raw. Raw, I know. I was like, you can't like braise it or something. Like at least like damn. But anyway, I don't know why that was like the part that offended me the
With the
most.
fingernail?
The fact that he didn't braise it. Where's the honey glaze?
What consenting adults do is none of my business, but a lack of flavor is much more offensive.
You can eat your homie's finger, but you better season that shit.
Exactly. But anyway, so the guy got seller's remorse apparently and was like suing him for
About his finger?
About his finger. So like they did it. And he signed the contract and they had it amputated and like all of that. And then the guy ate it and then he felt bad about it and was apparently suing him. Sadly, I did not meet him. He didn't make the flight was delayed. But I was like, oh, wow. Huh. So when we say eat the rich.
Oh my
They're
God.
actually doing it.
They're
and
down.
Then they get Catholic guilty about it later.
Like it was
What have I done?
I don't know.
I've given someone the hunger.
All I could think about was like that prion disease. Like there's like a specific disease that you
In
get
your brain.
from like eating human flesh.
Or I think it's from human brains or like the central nervous system.
Is
where
that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
also
he was okay with the finger.
Aren't prions like... Prions are... I don't know.
Prions
What are they?
Freaky as shit. Prions are absolutely freaky as shit. Like
Have you heard of this? There's this deer wasting disease in Pennsylvania.
it's in Kentucky too. Like
that makes the like zombie deer.
yeah,
They're like-
yeah. They like yell at us, and it's basically The Last of Us, but for deer. It's exclusive.
It's like
to
mad
deer.
cow disease, but it just starts eating. It starts
And they do it on-
unspindling their proteins, and so their bodies just start like melting.
And people are doing this to the deer on purpose?
No.
No,
It's
no,
from.
no.
I don't know how the deer got it, but
I'm not entirely sure either.
usually you get it from like
Wow.
eating the brains of of the same species. Like if when cows,
Really?
yeah,
Is
or like
all
the central
prion
nervous
disease?
system.
I'm not sure that all prion disease is based from
Probably
CNS
not.
consumption.
I know that
deer
mad cow
are
is.
also metal as shit. Like
They're kind of dumb.
they are kind of supermodels. Like they just sort of like walk around all cute. But like two male deer fighting is like metal as fuck. Like I remember a lady in my area when I was a kid, like she was like this little old woman and she'd like hand feed all her deer and like one of them like gored her. He was over it at a certain point. I was just like, Jesus Christ, like what? Pretty but psycho is deers.
Yeah.
Are there any like exotic animals that you would want to have as a pet? Like that you know that you shouldn't?
A lynx.
A
For sure, a
lynx.
lynx.
You
I've
had
been
that locked and
obsessed.
loaded.
Yeah. I've been obsessed with lynx my whole life.
Wow.
They're just big and fluffy and powerful and sultry. I think that I would get along well. I feel like we would have a good relationship and a good power dynamic.
Yeah.
A good power dynamic.
Yeah,
Are you in a
meow.
dom sub relationship with the
Yeah, and it switches.
We're fine.
as they all should.
I mean, really, I think that most cat owners are in a DS relationship with the cat, and the cat's on top.
Cats be looking at you horny as hell sometimes. I'm like, you are trying to fuck me, bro.
I know.
That I had a whole side conversation at dinner last night about this because we were discussing the fact that, like, you know, like obviously, well, how this got started was like how syphilis came into the human population, which like supposedly like syphilis didn't exist until the boys with Columbus came back from South America.
Dirty dicks.
It was only in like either llamas or alpacas before that.
Whoa.
They were fucking llamas.
Or alpacas. I have to check my sources here.
That's important.
I
That
have to
changes
check.
everything.
It changes everything.
That's what they had.
But yeah, like there was this whole thing. So we were having this conversation about like these weird prompts you get in like college ethics classes where like they ask you all this off the wall shit. But like sometimes animals want to fuck you. Like,
For sure.
Like your dog is like chasing around like the boy that you brought home, like presenting, and you're like, please chill the
put
fuck
it away.
out.
I'll
Put
take
it-
care of the dick. Thank you.
Exactly.
I can't stop picturing Christopher Columbus fucking a llama. They should make statues of him
It's
fucking the
appropriate.
llama and put
It's
that up.
appropriate. He fucking sucks. Like that's how he should be remembered, as an absolute goat fucker. Sorry, I was born on Christopher Columbus Day, and I have it out for him.
Wow.
I have like
Oh,
the
no.
shittiest, like it's Christopher Columbus Day and like Aleister Crowley's birthday, and then there's me, and I'm just like,
Random.
Sweeping up their mess.
like I don't know what this says about me. Nothing. It says nothing, but
Yeah, it says nothing. Birthdays, I don't know. The whole concept of the birthday is interesting to me because time, not really real. But calendar, real.
Period.
I'm in a DS relationship with my calendar. Actually, it's dog walking me.
I feel that.
I'm trying to fucking grab on is how I feel like. I'm just like, wait, shit.
Yeah.
That's my relationship
You guys,
to my
it's
calendar right now.
March. It's the middle of
It's
March.
the middle. It's fully in the middle of March.
Like,
Which is wild.
I was supposed to do so many things in January that are not done here in March.
Sometimes life has other plans, baby.
Life is lifing.
Life has been on turbo, it feels like. I feel like we've all had really insane, bonkers life
real.
experiences with life so far. But last month, I don't know. Something.
You had like a long February. February was like 3 months long for you.
Yeah, it was long. Lots of traveling, lots of new experience. I did DMT for the first time. Yeah.
What?
I
You
did
didn't
it.
tell me?
Blasted.
I know. I should have texted you immediately.
Did you blasted off, right?
I blasted off mid-rave was the first time.
You took it in the
Wait, you blasted off at the rave the night before?
The night before, yeah.
you?
Wait, and your eyes were open.
Closed.
Closed. But you were standing?
Oh, yeah. And dancing. Yeah. Yeah. And then the second night,
These are these
Next
moments
night.
where like I'm scared of you.
yeah. I have never, I don't know.
We were hanging out with this pharmacist who was just like, do DMT.
Yeah.
And we were like,
Pharmacists have the best drugs.
yeah.
period. I want to know if they have
He knew
good
how to
dick.
party.
Because I've just been like really wanting to fuck.
You want to fuck the
someone in
pharmacist?
That
Someone in the
pharmacist or
neuroscience realm.
any yeah.
Have you found any neuroscientists?
I mean, when I masturbate. But
In my mind, bro. Do you know Andrew Huberman? That's
oh my god,
I want to bone him.
Who is
so
this?
Daddy.
bad.
Daddy.
He's just like a neuroscientist.
He's the only podcast
Sick.
that I can sit there and listen to 3.5 hours of.
You DM slide him for us.
Please. Yeah.
I am actually off the market.
oh.
Bow chicka bow wow.
Hey.
I know. I now have
She's
recurrent.
in love.
I keep
Oh my
having
God.
like recurrent dreams actually, where like I keep getting propositioned for sex because like that's our life, and like in my dream I'm like, no, absolutely not, and I like run away, and I
I'm
wake up and I'm
spoken
like
for.
so proud of myself. I'm like
Even in my dreams, I'm a loyal bitch.
even my subconscious likes you. That's concerning.
Wow, that's
If we
romantic as
locked
fuck.
in, ain't no
no
switching up.
Apparently,
Yeah.
apparently that's how that's happening.
I'm noticing a trend, I think, in women who have done porn, which is that outside of porn, they are so susceptible to falling in love and like living the most like conventionally hetero life because they like realize how appealing it is, myself included.
I was
want
about to
be a
say,
trophy
you're just,
wife.
you're just picking up on his face.
There's nothing new.
It's like full circle from like you go from like radical girl doing porn all the way so much that you're like enlightened and you understand that being a trophy wife is actually
Based.
based as hell.
Well, I'm so happy for you and your trophy wife future, even though you're the business mogul.
I mean, like, yes and no. Like, I think I partially like him because, I'm a little self-obsessed and he's like an ADHD. Like, basically, if I didn't have pretty privilege and tits to like capitalize on, I would have like become him. And he's decided basically the same, that like if he had we'd be each other.
Yeah.
More or less.
I can see that just by the first night you guys fucked.
Can we tell that story?
Of course.
Oh my God.
Rewind. Let's go.
Well, we went out to dinner at this man's restaurant and we were having a good old time. And then we went to his house after to like party more. He was like, I have a hot tub. We were like, let's go. On the way there, they were talking about like psychedelic realizations and aliens and conspiracy theories, just like riffing off each other. And I was in the backseat like, I know what's happening.
And like to like back this up, I was like, Susie, I'm not gonna fuck him. It's
Right.
like,
I remember you saying
Susie,
that.
I'm not gonna fuck him.
Right.
Susie, we're not gonna fuck. And you were like,
Yeah. I was like, I know what I need to do.
I was like, I really like him. I'm like, I can't put it on him on the first night that we hang out. Like, I'm like, we can't do that. That's wrong.
And then we did more than that, honestly.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were all like,
It was my birthday.
it was your birthday. We were
God.
we were on his like
Christopher
pool
Columbus Day.
table. Yeah.
We did it for Christopher Columbus.
We were like discovering that he's a little slutty, and you were like getting into it, you know. And
I know, because he looked like such a good boy. I was
Yeah.
like, he could never. And then I was like, oh, he could.
oh,
Good.
he could.
Good.
Yeah.
And wait, y'all met at his restaurant? That's
Yeah.
where this was?
Yeah, through
Okay.
like a mutual friend. We met at the restaurant. And I thought the mutual friend was into him. So I was very much like, Susie, we can't fuck. I can't fuck him.
Yeah.
I can't fuck him. Girl code. I cannot
Yeah.
fuck him.
Yeah. And then after you were like, I shouldn't have fucked him. And I was like, just call her, tell her right away. And she was so dope about it. Yeah.
She blessed it so hard. She was
Yeah.
she was just like, no, I'm not into this man. Please go with God.
Yeah, go with God.
Aw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And-
we're both Libras. She's like, she has 7 other
understands.
crushes to rotate through.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Oh, one of the makeup artists in the business.
Cool.
Yeah, Tara.
Yeah.
She's like,
gorgeous. Shout out Tara.
before your time, one of those.
Makeup artist?
Yeah, she was a makeup artist for like Lansky back in the day, like Vixen stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've heard of her through Susie.
Yeah. Yeah, and you guys were acting just too coy, honestly. Like you guys were talking about making out styles or something, and I was like,
Was I? Oh God.
I don't know, but I was just like, okay. I felt like it was the actual like putting two heads together.
You basically did. You were like, it's midnight. It's your birthday proper. Kiss him. You have to have
Yeah.
a birthday kiss. I'm like, why can't you be my birthday kiss? And you're like, shut up.
Yeah, I was like, you can come to me right after.
Dude, the fact that it was on your birthday, the fact that Susie was there, the fact that your friend who may or may not have been interested in him was like, no, go ahead, like so ordained by God.
Yeah.
It literally felt irresistible. Like there was just, I felt like this like pull because I was like, I'm not gonna fuck him. I'm a grown woman. I can choose not to fuck somebody.
Right. Yeah.
You know how that is though. Like
Yeah.
especially with our job, is like it just feels like it's just like, whoops, that happened. You know? You're like, so he put his dick in me. Like,
Yeah. All of a sudden, I was being thrusted.
Exactly. And you're just like, okay, well, this is what's happening. But, like, there's like this very casual sort of like meaninglessness to sexuality that comes with it, which I think is probably why we like in like our secret heart of heart, like my dirtiest fantasy, like at one point was just like missionary in the dark. Like the idea of like having sex with the lights off felt so erotic to me.
I get it though. Yeah.
Like,
not having to think
just
about
feeling-
how it looks at all
Right.
and just like melting. into it.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
no presentation, like a little sensory deprivation, like the joy of like being not perceived.
For sure.
Like all
Yeah.
of that, and just how like normal coded it feels. Like that feels so good to me. I'm like, I don't know, this is great.
Every time I see any of your porn, I'm like, how are her toes so pointed
Yeah.
24
Yeah.
hours a day?
Pro porn, baby.
Yeah.
They're yelling at you the whole time. They're like, point your fucking
Yeah,
toes.
toes are
Point your-"
pointed. You're opening like it goes crazy.
I feel like you
That is-
are one of the best openers there are.
Bro, that is like from like experts to experts, that's like one of the nicest things that you can say about somebody. Like in our job, they're like, your toes are always pointed and you're always at the right angle.
And it makes sense that you want to have sex that is not like that also.
Yeah.
I want a man blanket. I need like he's like a burly man.
He's a
like,
big man.
Yeah, he's like 6'3". He's like 230, 240, something like that. Like he's nearly a quarter ton of man, and I'm just like, crush me.
He looks like he was a football player.
He was. Football and baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, like was like that was almost his career before
Does he
the
cook for
chef
you?
thing. He cooks for me every night.
Every night.
Last night I had stuffed poblano peppers, and the night before that it was like steak, like some like crazy ribeye cut that he was like, I don't know, shook hands with the butcher. He was like, you know, the cow had a good credit score. It came from a 2-parent home.
His name was Steve.
Exactly. It was like this whole thing. Like, that's just how I live now.
The cow took ayahuasca and got regular acupuncture treatments.
Exactly. Like, at the moment of death, they gave it ayahuasca.
Wow. That would be wild.
Oh my God. What happens if you give a cow ayahuasca? I was actually just reading about this, about how in Brazil, it's a protected right for like mothers and children in a specific, I think it's Santo Daimo? I don't know. I don't speak Portuguese, but they have the like religiously protected right of taking ayahuasca as children and while pregnant.
Wow.
That makes sense.
And like apparently like in their like belief system, like the baby is like given like fuerza, like it's stronger because it's given ayahuasca. And like when they do studies on these children, they rate like lower in anxiety and like they're more socially well adjusted.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck.
Are you going to do ayahuasca while you're pregnant? And have a little
Strong baby.
Did we just oh wait, no.
When you get
When I get
Oh, wait, edit that out. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. The cat's out of the bag.
the cat, all right. The cat's out of the bag. It's running around the room.
It's running around the room. Can somebody please come get my cat? Yes. No. I don't think I'm gonna do ayahuasca while pregnant. But I would do ayahuasca like after the fact for sure.
Yeah, so
like,
I'm sorry. First of all, congratulations. I love you so much. And also, remember when you were talking about how like the fans always know everything?
Yeah.
I did a random like ask me questions on Instagram recently, and 3 people asked me if you were pregnant.
shut the fuck up.
I'm not joking. I have a screenshot of one of them because I was gonna send it to you, but I was like, I'm gonna tell her
You
in
have
person.
like evaporated. I feel like your presence has been like,
I was like, bye. I'm gone.
Yeah.
Like, bitch, I'm a ghost.
Yeah. Would you say that like, I don't know, retired for now or retired?
I would say I'm doing other shit. Like here's my like 3 issues. Like my 3 issues are, as like we were talking about, you know, like the deepest, darkest fantasy of like all porn girls is to like be a housewife, a little trophy wife, whatever the fuck. So I would say that like for me right now, I don't see myself ever wanting to have sex with like a different man. Like here's my thing. I finally found a man who fucks me 5 times a day and can make me come every time.
makes you fucking stuff poblanos every night.
And he cooks for me.
He stuffs you, stuffs the poblano.
He stuffs me. He stuffs the peppers. He's gone to therapy.
Yeah.
He's like more.
That's apparent. He has that energy about him.
He's so well adjusted. So like obviously, in case like I haven't clarified, like I am pregnant, but like
It's
I
just
was
so nice to hear you say that.
I'm pregnant, yeah. And I was like morning sickness just kicked in, except like morning sickness is so PR'd. It's whenever the fuck it wants to be. And like mine is from the hours of like 10 p.m. to like 2 a.m. at night is like when my nausea kicks in. It's such bullshit.
That's the worst 3 hours
It's such bullshit.
for it to be.
I know. It's like you're cutting into my nighttime sex time. Like this is bullshit.
That's rude.
Yeah, it's so mean. But like I I was like, oh, I'll like get up and go to the other room. Like I know you have like stuff to do tomorrow. I mean, like he has like big boy job shit, you know. I was like, I don't want to bother you. And he got it's like the only time in like he's been mad at me like twice. And this is like he was like kind of mad at me last night because he was like, excuse me, like why would you say that? Like, that hurts my feelings. Like, I didn't get you pregnant and like sign up for this because I just like wanted the easy shit. Like, I signed up for all the hard stuff. Like, we're a team.
Babe, I
Like,
knew what I was doing when I was
Yeah.
buying you.
exactly. I knew what
Please
I was
vomit
doing
on
when I
me.
was coming in you 6 times a day. Like,
Yeah, and
Oh
it
my
was,
god. What? Yeah.
It was an oops, but it was a not an oops. I don't think. I'm sorry.
it was kind of like the I'm not gonna fuck him. I'm not gonna fuck him. Like,
yeah.
one of those. And like, I had just gotten like all of this like acupuncture and like Chinese herbal medicine done, and I'm told that like your likelihood of conceiving afterwards is like 4 or 5 times higher. Like, it's like one of those things that people do for like infertility, apparently. Like, I was accidentally doing all the things that you do for infertility. Like, he's like feeding me all this organic food, all of this. Like, my birth control did not stand a chance. My birth control was like, hey, don't go in there.
The sleeping goalie.
Watch out.
Sir, you can't go in there, sir.
Weak security guard. But we're happy about it.
Yeah, it was, once I like stopped freaking out, I was like, you know what? Wait. 'Cause, like,
Literally. If I
something-
was in your position, I'd be having a fucking baby too.
Bro, there's like something though about being pregnant that like automatically takes you back to being like 18. And you're like, oh my God, I'm a child. Like, how can I have a child?
No, really.
Like, I'm about to go tell my dad tomorrow, actually.
Are you flying to go?
Yeah. I have a 7 a.m. flight with me and him. I'm going to go tell my dad tomorrow. And like,
He's gonna be pumped.
he's going to be so pumped. He's 91. He didn't think he was going to be able to like see me have kids, you know? My sister, who's younger than me, was like, fuck, man, I got to thank you for taking one for the team. Because like, I really wanted to give it to him before he died, but like, I don't want to have kids. I was like, girl, I got you.
Wow.
I did this for us.
Yeah.
I took all these pies for us.
Does your mom know?
Yeah, my mom knows.
I feel like mom knows.
Mom
and
has
dad
to. No,
finds out
like
in
when I,
person.
okay, like how it happened, like was one of those situations where like I figured out like a couple of days before my missed period, I was like, something's up. I was like, something's up. So I like took the test and it didn't turn. And I was like, okay, cool, fine. Thank you, God. And I was like, the next day I came back to my house and I was like in my kitchen and I was like opening up the fridge and I had this like flash of like an idea. Like, I don't know, it was like a visual. And I saw like this little girl with like curly hair, like me and him. And she was like standing next to me and we were making pasta like how my grandmother taught me to, like by hand. And he came through the front door. I was just like, that's cute. And then he came through the front door and she whips around and she goes, Daddy, look what we made for you. And I was like, huh, weird. And then I went downstairs and like the test was still on the counter and it had turned. Like there was a faint line.
Yeah.
And
Chills.
I was like, oh shit, no. I was like, so I called my mom immediately. I'm like, Mom, do tests spoil? And she was like, yeah, they can spoil. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take another one. I'll call you back in like 10 minutes. And I took the other one and the line appeared like immediately, like after like 36 hours, like it appeared like immediately. And I was like, oh shit. So I call her and I'm like, I'm looking at a line. I'm looking at 2 lines right now. There are 2 lines on this thing. And she was like, okay.
Oh my god.
She was like, are we happy about this? I was like, I gotta call you back.
Give me a minute.
I was like, I gotta call you back. And I like went like just sped to his house. I was like whipping the car to his house. Pulled up. His buddy was there. And I was like, okay, never mind. I like did like loops around the neighborhood. Just like in an altered state of consciousness. I like texted him. I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He was like, oh, my buddy just left. I'm like, great. I like whip it back into park. Storm into the house. I have the 2 tests in my hand. And I'm like, I'm pregnant. And, like his whole face lights up. But then he looks at me and he was like, is that good? It's like, I was like, I don't want you to think I baby trapped you, like blah blah blah. I was using 2 forms of birth control. We weren't having sex on my ovulation. I don't know what happened. I like sobbed.
He was like, I know what happened. He's like, I'm baby trapping you, bitch.
That was exact. I got baby trapped.
You did though.
He was like, there's no way you're going back to porn. He was like, this is too good. He was like, I'm extending your contract.
with me.
With me, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, so that was, it took me like a week of like freaking out. And then I was like, I like woke up one day and I was like, you know that state where like you're half awake and you don't know who you are. And before I remembered who I was, I remembered I was pregnant, and I was like, oh
Yeah. Baby
yeah.
comes first.
I love that. And from then on, I was like, fuck, I have to keep it.
This baby's going to save the world. I can already feel it.
You can feel it. The
Yeah.
baby's gonna save the world.
Yeah, no pressure, but baby's gonna be.
The baby's gonna save. Well, the problem is that like her grandfather was an Appalachian witch, and then her grandmother is a Jordanian witch, and like she's just loud as hell.
Yeah.
Like we know she's a she. Like I'm getting the test next week to like confirm, but I'm like,
Whoa.
this is a girl, or if it's not, I'm getting my rainbow shit ready because
Yeah.
this is some femme energy,
For sure.
some very femme witch energy.
Just coming in hot, coming in swinging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She was like, look at you grabbing your.
baby. Fuck.
I know a guy.
Shut up.
What if I just start pimping him out? Like that's my game.
I mean,
It's time
does
to
he?
craft an army.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want my baby to have siblings, but do I want to like fuck up my body? Like I just find all the girls in porn with a breeding kink, which is like all of us.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
My best friend back home, she's like, with the love of her life, and she's like, I want to have like 8 kids. I was just like, what?
What?
8
Man.
children.
She was like, I want to pop them out as long and as much as we can. I'm like, bro, that's crazy.
It's like this weird liminal space of like, okay, there's this human and they have their own like selfhood and personhood and all of that shit, but I'm also like horny about how I made you. Like,
Yeah, it's
like I'm like
beautiful.
getting fucked and he's like rubbing on my stomach and I'm like, this is like scratching something in my brain that
Yeah.
is so foul.
Well, it's like we are created from sex. And then as soon as, I don't know.
Horny parents are so happy and healthy looking. I'm just like,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah,
know.
my parents couldn't keep their hands off of each other, even though my dad's like old as hell. Like it's like I would come into the house. I would come into the house and like my mom would be gone and he would be so sad when my mom was gone. He'd like call her all the time, and I like was coming in the house one day from work. I was like 15. And my dad is on the phone. He's like, I miss you. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. He's like, when you get home, I'm going to tear your panties off with my teeth. I was like,
Oh my God. I would love to hear my parents talk to each other like that. I feel like I've seen them kiss like 4 times.
that's crazy to me. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I insist on like being obsessed with the father of my kids. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's either I'm obsessed with you and I want to live in your skin, or nothing.
Okay,
Yeah.
I need to know if I'm having a baby or not.
Ever?
No.
Well, right now,
Yeah, you weren't specific.
Loophole, baby.
yeah, that's it. Right now, I need to
I
know
have
if
a
it's a
question.
girl. Oh yeah.
Will the plan B I took last night work? Cannot foretell now. It's
Okay.
still in the it's still in the system. It's fighting
still-
the demons right now.
Oh my God, you took Plan B last night?
Yeah.
From your BG?
Yeah. It was with Alex Jones.
Of course. Okay.
And then we had him on
you
here
know, and you
after.
know he can fucking pop some kids.
That's
Like,
exactly.
Not only does his splooge work because he has offspring, but
And that baby's pretty.
is it? I'm
Oh,
sure.
I've
Is
never
she?
seen.
But it obviously it's being implanted directly into your uterus because
Yeah,
his dick is
yeah.
separate. So
You're basically getting IVF every time. Every time it comes in you, it's IVF.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Oopsie.
Oops. Okay. Is it a girl? Consult me later. Bitch.
Wow.
What the hell?
She's deciding. That's up to her. You
Yeah.
know what? Gender is a construct.
The
That's
spirit
fine.
that runs this
true.
Apol is like taking a nap right now.
She's
actually
out to lunch.
Won this.
Her and my birth control are having lunch.
I won this Magic 8 Ball at an arcade with tickets. Like with what is it called? Yeah, when you win the games and you get the tickets, and this is like the big prize.
What?
I
Sick.
know.
Aww. What arcade game was it?
Okay, fine. I didn't win it. It was Oscar. It was
God
this,
damn it.
I know.
Just
fuck.
I'm sorry. I
It
didn't
was
mean to take
it's
that from
okay.
you.
I was lying, so whatever.
Lena, we have to
Um,
tell you about something that you don't know about.
Oh.
Whoa.
About the Phantom of the Opera.
Holy shit. Okay.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. What?
All right, without saying the actor's name, we're referring to him as the Phantom of the Opera.
Horny. Stop. That was my hyperfixation in middle school. Like, I rubbed it out to him, and that, like, intellectual franchise so hard. I wrote fan fiction about it.
Our moms love him too.
Our moms love him, and we
thought
met him at our friend's comedy show at the store.
Yeah.
And which I kind of want to go tonight. But all right, anyway, we met him there. I was like, let's transfix him to walk over here. And within seconds,
Of course.
He was horny.
That's a
as
horny
shit.
man.
Yeah.
That's a horny man.
But also a repressed man. So he was
He's like, he gives like raised Catholic vibes.
yeah,
Strong.
strong.
So we reel him in,
Yeah.
and he comes over. And obviously we want a picture with him because Susie's mom is obsessed with him.
Yeah, but like we were talking with him before that.
Yeah.
It was like chill. We're like, oh, okay. He like wants to. And
Yeah.
we were considering it telepathically with each other, like, we're going to fuck the Phantom tonight.
God damn
And
it. God damn it.
so we're talking with him. Everything's chill. Our friend Brad gets a photo with him. And then I'm like, can I get one too for my mom? And then we're about to take the picture. I'm like, take a picture with these two porn girls. And he was like, haha, what? Jeez. And then we're all talking after and everything's chill. We're talking about the podcast. We're talking about what we do. And then we say what we do. And he was like,
His like whole body language was
his
like
energy
meltdown.
did a 180.
Because he's thinking about like selling the photos or something along those lines.
He immediately was thinking about that.
The photos.
Yeah. And he was like, I thought you guys were kidding. I can't be involved. I can't be seen. Where is this photo going? Who has the photo? Like immediately.
Oh,
No.
that sucks. No, for you guys,
Oh,
I'm on.
yeah. I felt very scarlet lettered. Like it was really.
Yeah.
I was like, do you really?
We switched up too. We were
We
like,
switched
oh,
up.
oh, it's
I
like that, is it?
Yeah, I kind of like berated him a little bit, honestly.
How, like, what'd you say?
I was like, get with the times, dude. Like this, having a picture with some porn stars is good for your career. Pissing off porn stars is bad for your career. Like, come on.
And you're at the fucking Comedy Store. Like,
It's porn
we're
star
allowed
city
to be
there.
here, and
Yeah.
people talk about porn all the time in the shows.
And that's what I said. I was like, most of the comedy you saw tonight was about porn. And he was like, I don't like porn. And we were like, okay.
Okay.
And I was like, said bye to our friend, and we were out there.
Audi 5000.
Yeah.
But then we were texting our friend being like, bro, send us
that
photo.
But he like convinced our friend to
crazy.
delete it.
Whatever. You still have the recently deleted folder.
That's what I'm
That's what
saying.
we're thinking. But yeah, it was so. We were like, we were upset.
We're a little
after.
upsetting, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
upsetting.
Because I was like, this picture is only being sent to my mom, bro. Because that's who your fan base is.
Literally.
Like, what the fuck?
Oh my
I don't know.
It's just like, it was like very like, I'm like, okay, you've obviously been traumatized, but it was just like very ego-centered like energy of like, I'm gonna get like abused by the media because I'm hanging out with like porn stars because I'm so famous.
when like he wanted to fuck us. So it just makes me, when someone acts like that, it is like a for sure sign of like they're doing some crazy shit in hotel rooms, which like, you know what I mean? It's like
Totally.
nothing. I mean, obviously,
Well, and like he's
NDAs
probably got
are
a
involved.
wife or something like that. He's been in trouble before. That is the look also of like a
There's,
man that's
like-
like been in trouble somewhere before.
And he's on Pornhub. His sex scenes are on Pornhub. Like, what the fuck? Where is the difference between?
you putting on a sock and dry humping, and like when I shoot the softcore section for the HBO Skinamax boys.
I didn't know you did.
Softcore? Oh,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, that was like a whole thing at one point.
how much do you get paid for that?
Like nothing. It's included. I know. Like we would shoot the hardcore scene and then we would shoot the softcore scene.
Does softcore
It'd be-
mean that there's no penetration, or that you just
If I-
can't see it?
If I didn't want the penetration, then we didn't have to have the penetration. But like usually with these big old donkey dicks, they're like flopping around anyway. I'm like, just put it back in. Like it's fine. But yeah, like a lot of times it's just dry humping.
Wait, for like on shows.
Yeah, for like softcore. So like we would shoot like the hardcore version. I don't know. You guys might be, because you're a tiny bit younger than me, and like you guys might not have seen this, but like late night TV.
I thought I was older than you.
Wait, I thought you were younger than me. I thought you were like 26.
I'm 29.
You're 29. Oh, we're the same age.
Yeah.
Fuck, never mind.
Sexy.
I'm the oldest one here.
What's your birthday?
Ugh, I hate that. January 4th, 1994.
No, I'm actually the oldest one here. But go off,
Good.
Capricorn
Okay,
Queen.
good.
Yeah.
Take it away, Grandma. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. Excuse me. Nana's talking right now. Nana's talking. Anyway, late at night on TV, there would be these like softcore porno movies, and they would be as shitty as like a porno movie. It would be the exact same movie, but they would shoot a softcore version of it.
And then you buy the hardcore?
You wouldn't buy the hardcore version. The like Cinemax or HBO would buy this and have it on late at night on TV. So they would have a softcore porno movie with no penetration. So they'd have this like stupid little storyline about like the babysitter being, you know, basic instincting a whole fatal attractioning, whatever, a whole family, and like that whole thing. And it would just show no like actual penetration, but like you'd see the head bobbing and you'd see the grinding and you'd see the titties and you'd see the ass, you'd see everything. It's everything but penis and vagina.
What?
Yeah. So like when we would go shoot for like Brazzers in like Las Vegas, like we would shoot the scene, you know, oh doctor, I haven't, like you can reach it with your penis, and all of that stuff, and then we would get up to the point that we were about to start sex, and then we would do the softcore first, and then we would do the hardcore. And I kind of liked it because the softcore was like nobody gave a fuck about it. We're just like throwing it away. It's not like the profitable part of it. So it would kind of be like foreplay for the hardcore scene.
And then wait, does the company keeps the hardcore scene that sells it?
Yeah,
And
so like
sells the
Brazzers would
softcore
sell.
scene?
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell? Why is TV not that horny anymore?
Like, I'm saying.
Where's Girls Gone Wild?
I don't know. Girls Gone Wild was a little problematic.
Extremely
yeah,
problematic.
A lot of problematic.
But it made me horny.
me horny.
When I was a child.
I was
to
like,
see it
the
on TV.
problematic to horny like
Yeah.
pipeline is
Strong,
Well,
alive, and
we
well.
were just like kept so certain not Girls Gone Wild growing up, right? And then
Right.
seeing it, it's like, and like, of course, the girls look like they're having the time of their fucking life and like so free and just like whatever.
Totally.
And you want to be like, oh my God.
I mean, that's the fucking bitch of it. Like, that's the real gag. I don't know. I've been thinking about this a lot because, like, I haven't really been doing porn since I've been pregnant. And I've been thinking about this whole thing about, like, how we're raised this way, right? Like, all three of us. That's, like, so the opposite of Girls Gone Wild. And we're like, fuck you. I'm going to seek my own self-actualization. Like, I'm going to go do whatever I want. And I'm going to do it however I want. Because I'm a human being. And I have the control over my body, and like this like dam builds up in you that like bursts out and like floods all over the internet at some point. But then like at some point you're like, wait, damn it, I like swung so hard to the other side and like I'm still like on the same seesaw. Like I'm still on the same seesaw. Like you're still fucking with me like in this different way. Like
it feels like though as we all kind of approach 30, the seesaw is like leveling out.
Is that happening for you too?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I feel like I've spent so much time thinking about who I am and my own psychology for the last 10 years. And all of a sudden, within the last like year, I'm figuring it out a lot more. And I'm starting to think a lot more about the world and like what I want to do with all my resources now. Like,
doesn't that feel so good?
it's crazy. Yeah.
It feels really good. I feel like so much of my early 20s was like so reactive about like where we came from and like the things that happened, and like sex was like this question that I didn't have an answer for, and so like I just like needed like
to experience it all the time to figure it out.
Exactly. Like it was like this hyper focus of mine of like I need to figure this out, and then like as soon as like I figured it out, and like especially like having a partner like off camera finally that can like match me sexually but is like not depraved. And I'm like,
not driven by demons.
Not driven by demons. Like he's like a golden retriever that's just horny. And I'm like, this is great. But like finally now, like getting that like need met and then like being able to focus on other things, I'm like, fuck. Like did I ever really like get away from it, or did I just like do the same thing like flipped? Like both of us being like both sides, like Puritanism and then like the Girls Gone Wild level of like sexual liberation being just like obsession in like a neurotic kind of way. I don't know. These are the things I'm thinking about.
Same.
Yeah. Well, I think that the best part about this is that we're moving between all the worlds, you know? Like we have created lives for ourselves that allows us that freedom. And if we allow ourselves that freedom, then we can do whatever the fuck we want. And that's the whole point. Like you can cosplay as like a kept woman for a little bit and then jump back into porn and be like, let's fucking go. And I feel like a lot of people do that.
Totally.
People take breaks and they're like, not for me anymore.
I'm the president's wife now.
I am a good Christian woman.
Yeah, I'm good. And then you see their ass gaping 2 weeks later and you're like, all right, that break did something.
Totally. Like, I don't believe in the concept of like retirement. Like, it's sort of like getting a tattoo with like your partner's name on it. I'm like, there's like some Murphy's Law that like immediately kicks in where you're like, I will never come back and do this. That's like, bet.
Right.
But like, so I would never be like, oh, I'm never going to do this. Like, whatever. No, like, I don't believe in that. It's just like you said, like getting closer to 30 and like feeling like I have more of a grasp of myself and then like more of a grasp of like what was motivating the behavior. Mm-hmm. And like, that's kind of like a bit, like at some point I like did so much self-interest. Like there's this Carl Jung quote that if you don't make the unconscious conscious, then it will rule your life and you will call it fate. And like, damn. Unfortunately, when I like got so deeply in touch with my unconscious, like over like COVID time and like really like looked at myself, I was like, well, great. Like now I'm not as horny anymore. Like, fuck. You just look like a sad, pathetic little man to me. And like, you want this, this, and this. And if I say it in your ear, you're going to like come immediately. And like, none of this is entertaining to me.
The Matrix becomes so obvious.
Exactly. I'm like, this is like, I've heard this song before. Mm-hmm. And like, it's so like, when you deal with like desire all the time and you start to hear the same things over and over again, I'm like, I'm bored. This isn't like, okay, like, I guess the question has an answer now, and now I want to go do something else for a while. But I'm still going to go catch a nut.
Yeah, I think that's why being creative and being horny are like so close to being the same thing, because they're both like spontaneous and they're like, I don't know, driven by like fun and newness.
Yeah, the novelty of it. Like, you know, I think I was talking to like a vet girl at like the Korean spa. Like we were all there.
Like a veterinarian?
No, like one of the vet girls, like one of the established girls in the business. Remember when we were all randomly showed up at the same time at Weed Spa? I don't want to say like who it was, but like she was just like, yeah, you know, I talked to these new girls. I've been hanging out with all these new girls and they're all just like, yay, this is great. Shaking your ass for SoundCloud rappers is so much fun. Like, no offense, but like I'm just so over it, you know? And I was just like, same, honestly. Like, but I'm like, you know what that means? That means it's time for us to go like do a different thing. And she looked at me and I looked at her, and like the next time we talked, we were like, so we're doing different things now.
Fuck yeah.
Got to it.
Like, sorry. She was like, yeah, so like I've stopped doing this and this, and I'm gonna do this and that. And I'm like, I've stopped doing this and this, and now I'm doing this and that.
Hell yeah.
I feel like so many of my closest and like most identified with homies in porn are people who like they have an idea and they realize it when it's a good one, and then they just like make shit happen like immediately.
It's so true. Like, I think that there's like, for all three of us, because we're all pretty fucking good at this, like, but what makes us pretty fucking good at this is that there's this creative horny energy behind what we do of like, this itch feels so good, I'm gonna scratch it over.
And I am impulsive.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm gonna keep doing the fuck out of the thing. It's like, it's kind of like how the addict gene was like an adaptive like, you know, the dude that was like, I fucking love strawberries. I'm gonna hunt all goddamn day for these strawberries. This is the best fucking thing I've ever had. And he would go so long to get the dopamine hit of a strawberry. And like, you loved him in the village because of that. Like, we're that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, I love coming. I love coming so much. I love the way your face looks when you're coming. I want to analyze it afterwards. I want to be like, okay, so when I did this, this, and this with my tongue, you know, it's that scene in The Princess Bride when what's his face is getting tortured and they're like, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your pain? Like, and he's like whimpering. He's like, interesting. Like, that's me after I fuck. I'm like, so what worked for you?
I love the debrief.
Oh my God.
Oh,
It's
it's so
so
fun.
satisfying to me. It's like as good as fucking. Like I get it
Yeah.
again when we
Yeah.
do the debrief. It's so good.
I love
But-
watching it back.
Yes, the playback.
Yeah,
The
the playback.
playback. Yeah.
Playback of porn different than playback of pod, but similar, kind of. Not really.
Do you not get dopamine from like watching the playback of the pod?
I feel like we're both really hard on ourselves.
We're hard on ourselves,
And-
we're sometimes we're better about it than others.
I don't cringe at myself fucking, but I do cringe at myself talking and listening. Like when
Okay.
it's just showing me listen to someone talk, I'm like, is that what people are getting
Yeah.
from me?
And we watch each episode like more than once.
You have to watch them a
usually,
lot.
So we're like
I'm sure.
It's a little
'Cause you're-
torturous, actually.
I'm sure you're like cutting it to make it more like snappy.
little chop.
And
Yeah.
just to make sure for legal reasons to cut out anything that people may say.
We stay talking. We
Yeah.
stay talking about strange shit. But, you know,
This episode, no cuts so far.
No cut so far.
I love that for us. But, you know, like, would you say, though, if you go back and you watch early porn videos of you, I'm talking like early baby Susie or
I would cringe.
baby Sydney. Like, when you look at those videos, like, I hate looking at old videos of my porn. I'm like, I didn't know how to do this. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to
But
whatever.
it's like, the thing is, though, that is like some of the most money I was ever making.
Isn't that
Was
crazy?
when I was making those, and I know that people love them, and like I just try to be nice to myself because I was doing my damn best.
Exactly. You gotta have the same attitude about this stuff.
And like coming from just like making porn in your house rather than like you started with companies, I feel like no one was telling us like, do this, do that, don't do that. Like, you know, people need to see what's going on. It can't just be like one angle the whole time and whatever. There was like a bigger learning curve because we didn't have that direction, I think.
That's like, I think about this all the time of like the trauma to training trade-off of like mainstream porn, because like I love hanging out with OnlyFans girls. Like there's so much, you know, like I will shit on mainstream porn all day. I'm sorry, I will say it. That's my controversial opinion. Like the old school girls, we were going through some crazy shit
Yeah.
on some of these studio settings. Like that shit is absolutely bananas in some ways. And like I meet the OnlyFans girls and like sure, they don't know as much and like things are like goofier sometimes with them, but at the same time like it's just such a better vibe most of the time. Like I don't see the like 1,000 yards. Like I could only date veterans at one point because I didn't have to explain. Like I could only at one point date like infantry Marines and shit like that. Like my ex-husband was a Navy SEAL and then or like almost Navy SEAL, and then the ex-boyfriend after that was in the Marines. And, like,
Dude, after stripping for only half of a year, but in a touching place where they could touch you, I was like, I was going through a lot after that for sure.
totally.
So I can't imagine years of fucking people, a lot of whom you've never even fucking met before. Sounds very intense.
I mean, like, I was just like right before I left here, or right before I left the house, I was like cuddled up in bed with my man and we were like having one of those conversations of like, because it's just like a series of debrief. Like, you know, I'll say something sometimes like casually and then I look over at him and I'm like, fuck. Like, this is like the shitty thing about like having like PTSD is that like you'll just be talking about something and it's like a normal Tuesday for you. And then like you
And
look
he's
over
like,
at the
"What
audience and
happened?"
I'm like, I've lost you. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like, on the one hand, it's like really annoying, and on the other hand, you're like, oh man, like
Helps me keep perspective.
it does,
Yeah.
it does, because like at some point, you know, like groups that are marginalized as like a collective or that like undergo a collective trauma, like they tend to be very cliquish. Like you notice that like sex worker girl, like my therapist is a sex worker, like my wax girl is a sex worker, like everybody that I talk to in my life is like a sex worker pretty much. And at some point I started realizing, I'm like, is that because I don't have to explain myself to you? Because I don't have to have the conversation like with the fucking phantom where like you're just like suddenly othered like immediately.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to him about this because he was saying like, you know, I feel so much closer to you like when you tell me these things. And I'm like, I love that. Like that's such a sweet thing. But like on some level, like it also feels like I'm being drug over a bed of nails because I just hate like the other, like when you look at another person's eyes and like you see yourself from their perspective
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and like you're suddenly like, ah, fuck.
And I think like we've all probably had those experiences where you're telling somebody a story and then you realize how like much that experience traumatized you by their reaction to it.
Right.
I'm like, oh, this happened. Then they're like,
right.
and I'm like, oh, fuck.
Right. And
So
like,
that's what happened.
At some point, like, like it's kind of like you boil a degree by frog, like you turn the thing up slowly and like the frog doesn't jump out of the thing because it doesn't notice that it's being boiled alive. Like, it's kind of one of those situations where like, oh, that must have been so bad for you. I'm like, no, that was literally a Tuesday. Like,
Yeah.
please don't make me feel weird about it.
I know. And when they freak out about something that you find to be a very small thing, I've been saying like that is just a grain of sand on my trauma beach, baby. So if that is going to give you that reaction, I'm zipping my lid.
Exactly. So it's like when we talk about, like I know that there's like good things about like the whole mainstream thing of like, like pointing your toes and opening up like all the time. Like those are cool and I'm thankful for them, but I like would never like tell an OnlyFans girl that was like doing successfully. I'm like, do what makes you happy. Like fuck the people you want to fuck, have sex with people you want to have sex with. And I think to OnlyFans girls' credit, like they have made the mainstream industry like very different in a lot of ways. Like I haven't been back really since COVID, but it seems like when I hear about like all the consent checklists and like the ways that it's set up, that it's really changing. Like I don't want to sound
thank God
completely regressive.
Yeah, because the bubble burst because of OnlyFans. So like
And
it
the
was such a
pandemic,
mainstream like bubble.
They had hegemony over the whole thing.
Yeah, and now that people like a lot of the percentage, like most people going in and out of testing sites are also just OnlyFans creators, and like they may call bullshit more so than someone who is in that bubble,
Totally.
But I feel like y'all like the vets are like the senior class of the porn high school, basically. Like
we're burnt out, baby.
but y'all are like the infantry of the porn army. Like you guys went in first.
Yeah.
You guys were guns down.
And like I was like on the last end of that, like the girls from like the early 2000s and like the 2010s, like that was like a whole different ball game, and it was for so much less money than like what the OnlyFans girls are making and retaining, and I'm so happy for that. But it's definitely like I see like it kind of like gave me like a little bit of an identity crisis when like the OnlyFans girls were coming in and they were so loud. Like, I don't mean that in like a bad way, but like there was this reactivity that if something happened on set that they were just like immediately not about it and all of that stuff. And I was pretty reactive for like a mainstream girl, but like still not. And like there were so many things that, again, like when somebody comes in with a new pair of eyes and they look at a situation and they go, this is not normal.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, fuck, like you're right.
Dude,
like,
that's how I felt telling people. Okay, I was talking about mycoplasma at AVN, I remember, and everyone was just kind of like, huh. And I was like, damn, I mean, mainstream people who rely on mainstream primarily for their income, like you just have to accept so many things as normal to like not have to think about all of the shit that you have to go through to do mainstream. And it's really fucked up.
Totally.
Like
Totally.
you just like start sublimating like your own health and safety. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like OnlyFans girls have the rap of being like kind of annoying for that reason, but I'm like it's good. Like we need a fucking union. There needs to be a porn union.
Yeah.
It's so complicated because I think one of the like girthiest, fattest pills to swallow about being a human being is that there is no justice. Like there is not a system of justice. And so when we talk about things like unions and all of these things, like maybe it's that being the infantry, like maybe I'm speaking from a place of burnout, but like I just don't think after this many years that we're gonna see like an eliminate, like, if Brad Pitt can beat on Angelina Jolie and like their kids and like in front of witnesses with police reports and the FBI gets involved and nobody gives a shit, like nobody gives a shit about if we're fucked up. Like how the conversation this morning started between me and my man was, I was like, did I ever tell you about when I almost killed a man?
Oh, I love this story. Can you tell this?
Yeah.
Oh,
he was like, no, because he'd had some dream, because he's been having all these dreams since I got pregnant about like having to protect me and the baby. And I was like, I really appreciate that. That is such a wonderful thing. That's how you're oriented. But like, you don't have to worry about me. And so I tell him this story. So this was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And a girl, like a newer girl in the business, but like on the up and coming, either her phone was stolen or like they did that thing where like they copy it and like they can get into all your shit. Basically, I get a text message from a number and it's like, hey girl, this is blah, blah, blah. Like, I'd really love to set up like a content shoot with you. And like we start having the conversation. And I'm like, I really like, I would love this. Do you mind to like text me on like your official socials? Like, do you mind to text me from like your official Instagram just for like verification? Because you know how this is.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, I don't remember where I got your number from. I think it might have been Angela. I was like, that's cool, but whatever. Send me from her IG, and she does. And then we're like, oh, I'm like, okay, great, because she's really cute. She's new. I want to set up the shoot, whatever. And we're talking, and I just have a feeling, like, like the gift of fear, baby. Like, it just sometimes, like, your instincts start instincting. It just doesn't sound like a girl. Like, she's like sending me screenshots of like her famous tricks, like really famous tricks, and like the setups of that, and they're like, oh, whatever. And she's like, like, I want you to take these appointments with me and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, maybe she's new and she just doesn't know hoe code. Like,
oh my God, I think this person tried to scam me too.
I think so. Like, they were doing it a
energy.
lot. Like, the police got involved eventually. But I just get a feeling. So I text Angela and I'm like, hey, Angela, I know you know this girl. Would you tell me, like, if this is the number that you have for her? And she's like, no, this isn't the number that I have associated for her. I have a different one, but I'll reach out to her. Because, like, girls have, like, 3-4 phones in the business. Like, it's not necessarily a deal breaker. So she reaches out and she's like, she says she's not messaging you. And my body lit the fuck up.
Like, what's good?
I was like, okay. And she said that Angela told me that like this person had been like messaging everybody and like creating an issue and like whatever. And I guess they eventually stole Angela's identity and they were like terrorizing them. Like, it was this whole thing. But she was basically saying that this was like an absolute menace and like under no circumstances to let them into my house. And I was like, at the time, I was like still like directing a little bit or producing, and I had this like one Serbian guy on my crew, and he always told me about how he like grew up like connected and was like in that space. And so I was just like, hey, and like he has a 4-year-old daughter and,
in the
like,
hitman space.
like in the Serbian mob.
Got it.
Yeah, and I was just like, do you know anybody that could like help me with a situation, a little situation? And like my justification of this was threefold. Number one, cops take 6 hours to show up to like actual like murder scenarios here in LA County. Like, they do nothing. They absolutely do not show up for sex workers. No. And he was like actively targeting and like trying to hunt women and was like clearly working up to something violent in what he was going to do.
The scammer?
The scammer. So he was trying to come to my house to shoot content. He was trying to show up to my location to shoot content. So I was like, come over. Here's the keypad code. Let yourself in. Please. And so like the whole situation was like, he was going to come over. They were going to be there. And I was like, I just need you to do like one thing for me. And they were like, what? I was like, I need you to make it hurt.
So yeah, they think they're going to meet you, and then
so
it's
yeah,
Serbian
so they
man.
think they're going to meet me and whatever. And so I like gave them the address. I was like, come to this house. Here's the keypad. Let yourself in. Because like I was moving out in like 2 weeks. So I was just like, this doesn't. I don't care if you like burn this location, whatever. So like gave the guy the address, gave him the keypad, and I was like gone. And he fucking never showed. I was so mad. I was like, you raggedy bitch.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I don't know if they ever like caught him, but I was like, I'm sorry. Like, you're from Arkansas. I'm from Kentucky. Like, this is just how it's
This is fucked up. Let's go.
Exactly.
That's metal, dude.
I was like, this is fucked and I'm going to handle it. Like,
Yeah, so all you scammers out there, don't even try it.
or do, please.
Oh.
she's ready to be entertained, boys.
Like, I was watching, I don't know, have you guys been watching The Last of Us?
Mm-hmm.
Susie has. I've
Okay,
seen the
are you
first
caught up?
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the last episode? When
I felt it viscerally. I was like, that's exactly what I would do.
episode 8 of The Last of Us, for people that are like watching this at the end. Anyway, basically, there's this like deep moment of like female rage in which one of the female characters
Executed
is like
perfectly.
being hunted by a predator, and she is given the opportunity basically to viscerally beat him to
It's not
death.
going to be
Like,
just one stab.
yeah.
It's just not.
Yeah.
It's going to be 30.
There was a mallet. It was a hatchet. It's so satisfying. Like, I think that there's something in like every woman
Yeah.
with our past that is like, oh,
Given the opportunity.
given the opportunity,
Oh yeah.
like a scot-free opportunity.
I would love to curb stomp the former owner of my strip club
Oh,
that I worked at so much.
absolutely.
I would love it.
I feel like if there was like, I feel like how we could get women in a cult would be.
This is what the farm is.
How we could get women in a cult is, like, hear me out. It's a gang. And
Right.
like, we, like, you know, like at a key party, like what a key party is? Key parties is like when couples all throw their house keys in a hat, and when you pull out the key, like that's who you're going home with.
Oh.
Like,
I
we
thought
all-
it was like to not drive home drunk, or like a key
No.
party, like people are doing cocaine.
No, this was, the only reason I know this is because they were doing this in my church when I was like 6, and I overheard the adults talking about this.
Your church
My church.
was full of swingers.
The church leadership was all swinging with each other. It was a
The
huge.
clergy.
I
orgy.
love
Clergy.
I love Southern small town. It's
horny.
I have so much horny church stuff. Like, it's crazy.
Damn.
Again, because it's one side of the seesaw, baby. Like,
Yeah.
it's the horseshoe of like, you go far enough to one side and you're the same thing.
Yeah, polarity. Always
Exactly.
exists.
Exactly. But like, my female cult is we all get together. We put the names of like the strip club owner and like whatever the fuck in a thing. And it's like, you have an opportunity.
Do you already have all the men that are in the hat in the basement, and then someone just goes and gets them, or does it then you have to hunt them?
I think like I think it's like a situation like this where like, you know, we outsource that, and then, you know, basement.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the comments of people like, "Can you imagine if men were here talking about this?" It's like, yeah, you guys always talk.
You guys
about
literally
killing
have
us.
women locked in your basements
right now, right? Like we're just talking about it. We don't actually.
No, what I'm saying though is that, because, you know, like there's this whole thing about like how like women don't commit violence at like the same like proportionate levels of men, and like they don't like do the like
Right.
culty stuff in the same way that men do. What I'm saying though is that this would be the thing that would speak to like the dark heart of women. Like, this would be where you could get like the shadow of women to do weird shit, is if they were given the scot-free season 1 episode 8 Last of Us opportunity.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, I mean, sounds like a spin-off of Fight Club, but just
Girl Fight Club. This is
Yeah.
Girl Fight Club.
yeah.
Somebody has to make that movie.
You aren't.
Let's make a porno.
And Lena Paul is out of retirement, ladies.
She's
Coming
back.
out for one night only.
Yeah.
Like a prize fight.
Bro, if
So-
you were in the Fight Club but you were pregnant, like fully pregnant, that would go. That's some white trash, crazy
Oh
shit.
my
right
god,
there.
you guys! I grew up in a trailer park. Like it's still, you know, the TikTok meme of she lives inside me, and it's like pictures of like you as a child.
Uh-huh.
Like that would be my she lives inside of me moment, possibly literally.
I thought you were going to say the picture of you as a baby covered in money.
Covered in that is absolutely my she lives inside of me.
Yeah, your dad manifested that for you.
thank
you,
God.
Dad. Thanks, Pa.
Yeah, and this is absolutely why I am the way that I am, is because he was like literally bootlegging and with like mobsters back in the day. Like like I keep getting this question from like my boyfriend's family, because like they all immediately knew who I was. Like I was like, I have an e-commerce company, and they were like, yeah, okay, Lena Paul. I was immediately clocked by his entire family.
Oh my
It
god.
was like, I didn't even have a chance for an impression. Like, they were just like, hi, Lena Paul.
They're like, the Black Gangbang was one of your best.
Like, his little brother was like, all my friends jerk off to her. Like, what am I going to say?
You'd be like, say that her skin is really soft.
Exactly. I'm like, it's now my life quest to make you as uncomfortable as possible at family functions, but I digress. He's a sweet kid.
I mean, it sounds like it's all chill, though.
If you're, yeah, they were super chill about it. In fact, when he said that, apparently his mom was like, you need to grow up. It was super fucking chill. It was incredible.
Keep your preferences to yourself, babe.
Exactly.
No one needs to know that you're straight. Relax.
It was like so iconic. But like they were basically just like, what will you say to your child? Like when your child is like old enough to understand this, I will say, baby, we've been failing upwards. Like I was legal. Like your grandfather, your great grandfather, all criminals. Like we're failing upwards. I sucked that dick for you, baby. Like
Fuck yeah.
please enjoy your full ride to Dartmouth.
Yeah. Look what mommy did for you.
Exactly. Mommy
that
would
mouth
do
into-
anything. But like no, seriously, it is one of those things of like it was all for that.
So you feel great about being online forever.
I feel so good about being online forever in the sense of like I think it's so important that like who you are. Like I don't know. My dad sat me down. He's 91. He's never going to hear this. He swore that I wouldn't say this, but I think it's like such an important thing. But basically he sat me down like 2 years ago and he was like, I have to tell you something about your grandmother that you're named after. And he tells me because, you know, he grew up in the Great Depression and his dad was in prison and his mom like had a sugaring arrangement with like the grocery store owner. Apparently like his wife had like muscular dystrophy and like was unable to have intimacy. And so she took care of him and he took care of the kids.
Wow.
And like his dad, my dad, was like 7, 8 at the time and he like understood what was happening. And when his father got out of prison, he became the primary mechanic for the town. And he tells a story about the grocery store owner walking into the place to get his car work done. And he does the work and he comes back. And his dad, my grandfather, rips up the bill. He says, I heard that you took care of my family when I couldn't. And he didn't know that there was an exchange of goods for services there.
Oh.
And the grocery store owner was so mortified. He turned red. He was so embarrassed about it. And my father was embarrassed watching this. You know, like this is a culture of honor. But he's like telling me the story and he was like, he looks at me and he was like, I kept her secret. And like in some way when he was looking at me, like in his older way, he was saying like, I see you and like I will hold this secret for you.
Wow.
And it was I don't know, I just like I wept, but like we can't hide our real selves from our children. Like that story, my grandmother would probably have been mortified if she knew that almost 100 years later that story was being told to me. But I needed to hear that story and my children need to hear my story when it comes along. So like thank God it's all online forever because I probably blocked out most of it.
Yeah. You see a scene, you're like, when was that?
Who
is that?
The last time I was at the AVNs, Mandingo taps me on the shoulder and he was like, Lena. And I'm like, he's like, Fred, I worked with you 2 weeks ago. I was like, oh.
I gotta get out of here.
I'm like, I'm zooted, man. I'm so sorry.
I am on shrooms every day, sir. Me.
Oh, so good for your brain.
So good. So good. This episode was so good.
It really was.
I love you guys.
Thanks
I
for
love
coming
you
back
too.
on.
It was my pleasure.
I'm excited to go and celebrate again.
Oh my God, I'm so
Yes.
excited to go eat things.
Me too.
Yeah.
wanna
I
go
feel
eat.
really
extra
emotional about it.
hungry.
That's the only thing I'm crying about lately is if I don't get food every 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. it's
Like, this is
important.
too much.
We
Yeah.
need to keep you filled
It's
up.
blood sugar time.
Yeah, we do.
Have you been taking more cream pies since you've been pregnant?
There's
Just for
2 in
fun?
me right now.
Crowning my fetus, yes.
Basically, the way I see it, I'm like, baby, you better get all you can for the next 8 or 7, 8, I don't know how many months. Whatever. You better get all you can in this time period because afterwards,
I'm gonna need a minute.
if you look at me funny, I get pregnant. Like, we're not doing this.
Right back to back. No, thank you.
No Irish twins. I know I'm Irish, but like, we're not doing Irish twins.
All right.
Well,
Thank you, Lena.
Thank you for stepping out of your domestic bliss bubble to come and talk smut with us.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
I need this occasionally.
Let's see.
Let's eat.